So, Seth, take me through your initial reaction when you learned that your account was going to be limited on Twitter.
I mean, we're always kind of like expecting this moment to come. I mean, it's one of these situations where we are regularly making jokes that are bumping up against the limits of what um, left-run social media is really willing to allow. So it's never really that surprising to us. We get reports all the time too. People report our tweets, so we get emails notifying us that someone's complained about one of them. Um, but to get one that says that we violated the terms and our account's been locked, that is unusual. That doesn't happen frequently for us. So it was did catch us off guard a little bit. But, our initial response is just, I mean, you've got to be kidding me. It's just it's a ridiculous joke. And I think it's important to emphasize the fact that this is a joke. This isn't being done in a mean spirit. Um, there's this absurd headline out there, a real headline out there, where Rachel Levine was named one of the Women of the Year by USA Today. If we can't make fun of that, if we can't poke a joke, poke at these things and poke holes in the popular narratives, then what are we doing as comedians? Why are we even on this platform?
Well, and you look at this situation and you sort of wonder, okay, where do you go from here? And I know you have said you guys are not going to take down that tweet. So talk a little bit about that. Why won't you take it down?
Well, why won't Twitter take it down is my question. If Twitter has a problem with the tweet, they can delete the tweet. What they want us to do is log into our account, acknowledge that we violated the terms and that we engaged in hateful conduct, and delete the tweet. That's what we have a hard time doing because we don't agree that we engaged in hateful conduct.
Right,
So,
right.
what they're requiring us to do is essentially affirm that two and two make five, and we're not willing to do that. And so, we're kind of at an impasse where it's like, okay, do we want our Twitter account? Do we want to reach our 1.3 million followers on there? Absolutely, of course we do. It's kind of vital to our business that we be in the discussion and sharing our content where our audience is. But at the same time, to require us to go in there and delete the tweet and affirm that we engaged in hateful conduct. I mean, how can you expect us to do that? They're more than welcome to delete that tweet if they want to. It's their platform. But why should we have to do it? They just want us to bend the knee.
Well, you raise a really important point there because they could very easily just take this tweet away. They could get rid of it. The argument is that they own the platform, so they can monitor and do whatever they want with the content on it. To your point, they could just take it down. And I would imagine too that admitting you violated terms would, in the future, if there's another one of these things that pops up, they can then say, "Oh, you've already admitted that you did it once." It kind of adds to the arsenal of issues when you do that. So what happens moving forward here? Have you talked with Twitter? Has there been any sort of interaction about this?
Not yet, and there is an appeals process that we're going to go through and see. Our account will remain locked while it's under appeal until it's been reviewed, and we'll see whether they uphold it or not. And if they uphold it, then I don't know. We'll have to speak to somebody at some point over there. We would like to be on Twitter. We don't want to be off of Twitter. Um,
Right.
but we don't want to be the ones to delete a tweet like that and acknowledge that we did in fact engage in hateful conduct when we didn't. We refused to affirm that we did that. I mean, look, we made a joke. It was a lighthearted joke, and it's a joke that just so happens to be getting at a point of truth. And this is one of the things. It's like the way that we typically defend ourselves when we're being fact checked and everything is like, guys, look, this is satire. We're not making truth claims. Like this is not. The
Right.
details of this story are obviously false because it's a satirical story. But that doesn't mean that there's not some underlying point or truth that's being carried through with those false details. And that's what satire often does very effectively is communicate truth with a fake story. And so in a sense, it's kind of paradoxical in that way, true lies kind of a thing. And
Well, you said truth is not hate speech. That was something you said in the wake of this, and I thought, this is an important point that continues to sort of get lost in the mix of this conversation. So I like that you. Let me just ask you though, why do you think these big tech companies are willing to die on this hill? It seems like this is the issue they're all digging in on. You guys are not the only ones facing this. The Christian Post and others have faced this before. Currently, the Christian Post is facing it. So why? Why is this a hill in your view that they're willing to die on?
honestly, I don't know. It's insane to me. It's really bizarre, especially when you look at the left's ardent support for women and equal rights for women over the years. to go and start adopting positions that really erode what it even erase what it even means to be a woman. You lose your ability to even define that term when you start adopting some of this transgender ideology stuff that they are enforcing so vehemently and strictly on their platform. So I don't know why. I know that the left tends to be the dog that's wagged by the tail. You have these small groups that these small, really loud, noisy groups that have a lot of power and influence, and everybody just scrambles to do what they say. You have the situation with the Disney CEO, who, in opposition to this Florida bill, was basically uh, um, adjusting his public stance based on what a small group of very loud people wanted him to do. And so there's no sense in which he's actually the chief executive officer. He's not the one calling the shots. He's the one that's been put in place as the figurehead to just do whatever the really noisy leftist mob wants. And so I don't know that there's a lot of reasoning behind it. It's just all emotion, feeling, and following whatever the mob wants in that moment.
How has the audience reacted to this? The Babylon Bee audience. Obviously, a lot of people are on Twitter. They want you guys there, but how are they reacting to not only the actions by Twitter, but how you guys have reacted to that?
They're pretty supportive. We have a lot of support. There's a lot of people who've been saying that we should have left Twitter a long time ago. I never fell into that camp. I was never one of those people who felt that it was necessary for us to sideline ourselves voluntarily and remove ourselves from the conversation. These other platforms are not great alternatives to Twitter because there aren't a lot of people there. You can't reach as many people, and it's more like an echo chamber. And so, you have a situation where if you really want to engage your audience and you want to engage with the other side and you want to speak truth to culture, then you've got to be where the discourse is. So we want to be in the fight. We want to be in the ring, and we want to have our voice counted in the discussion. So I never wanted to sideline ourselves. And a lot of our audience, though, is supporting us in simply not backing down. This is not a case where we're sidelining ourselves. It's a case where we're being, compelled to affirm something that we don't want to affirm. And so our refusal to do it, I think we're gaining the respect of some of our followers who think that standing on that principle is worthwhile.
Well, listen, Seth, I appreciate your time. We'll continue to monitor this story, and we'd love to have you back soon.
All right, thanks. Appreciate it.